So the next content item, we are a little bit ahead of schedule, but this is fine because the next speaker will have a little bit more time for questions and answers. So we have the next speech up, which is VC money doesn't equal success. So we are going to have Petr from Lokalise, the Chief Revenue Officer there, telling their story of bootstrapping. This means that he's not, their company is not having money from VCs like you guys. And he has a localization platform where you can translate your services into a local language. And I know even a startup who has used them before. They have companies from Revolut to Amazon using their services. He is personally himself one of the co-founders of Odaklasniki, and he's a passionate snowboarder and kite surfer. Give a big applause to Petr Antropov.
Hi all. You know probably this feeling when you are into something, focused. For instance, reading an interesting book or eating some great food, or in our case at Lokalise, like raising a unicorn, still like kind of a baby or teenager, and then like you get distracted and then you can have a feeling that something is going on. In our case, it was a while ago when people started asking us questions, have you raised? And we were answering not yet, or maybe like no, and they're saying like, yes, great success, high five, like you're still bootstrapping, like good for you, nice. You're saying no to VCs, and then like, yes, no pasarán. It's like, you know, like venceremos. And we start wondering why, because like a lot of our friends, they work in VCs, and I know a lot of like success stories with VC money, funded startups. Like what you do when you are puzzled, you Google, right? And this is what I found in Google. And it's like, get lost VCs. Like companies rejecting VC money. Even like here, like TopTal is like saying like, if you ever talk to us, you need to go with our rules. Otherwise, we're a very successful company. We don't need you. Even more here, you see, like seed funding is like getting down, and like there's some terms like toxic VCs, and like here, like this is also I hate this because I like foie gras, and here, like foie gras effect of VC money is like it's negative. And in the middle, you see this. This is the founder of Shopify who is saying that like that was a key success, a key ingredient of his success that they didn't raise in the beginning. So like I was a banker myself before, and like was kind of happy when the company was like raising money, and like somebody was agreeing to invest, and maybe like later, even like my team from Odaklasniki is running a VC company called Rubylight here, and looking for B2C startups. Even like me, maybe like I'll eventually be a VC. This is why I'm actually talking about this. We are a 3-year-old company, still bootstrapped. And I also know this company, some of them are our customers, who also bootstrapped, at least in the beginning. And like besides like very well-known names in the world, there's also like 3 names out of the Baltics. And these are like Printful, which is like probably our best bet to having like the next Latvian unicorn. And there's like 2 guys from Lithuania, Tesonet, which is probably can be valued already as a unicorn, and Omniscient, which is like beyond 2 million, 10 million ARR now, and would probably like raise, I don't know. So like a full disclaimer for me, why I'm talking here, this is my concern, because we may end up raising, even that we didn't do before. Like I will not talk about our success or failure. This is just a little bit of background. Like we are cash flow positive, we are like fast growing, and we are like hiring people. So in case you know somebody, like we could be like a good place to work. And we're also giving shares to everybody, like in equity options. And this is like maybe be very important in my speech later. So I feel there's a lot of misconception and misunderstanding. And the first one comes from like the very word startup. Because we're now in localization and translation industry, helping companies to translate their apps, I'm very sensitive to words. And the very word startup is like, it's a misconcept. Because it's not how you start is important, it's how you finish is important. And like a better word would be probably a scale-up. Another misconception, which is very popular in Latvia, is like the more startups is the better. And like we now have maybe like 2,000 startups. But this is like, there's a saying, 9 women will not like bring a child in 1 month. And this is like, again, how you develop it, how you like finish is important. So like, what is a startup or scale up? It's about scale. And scale could come as a change. And the bigger change is the better. And like we know, like probably all of you here are either engineering or bachelors of administration or like, I don't know, financial background. So you know, like it's a simple mathematics. Like the change is like a magnitude times the base. Then the magnitude is how much will it change, and the base is at the market. So it could be a small change to a big market, which is good, it's already a scale, or a big change to a small market, or both. And we actually started as a like small change to a big market, and we'll kind of make it bigger. In VC terms, it's even easier. It's not a calculation, it's just like a number, which is 100. This is what VCs are expected you to grow, 100 times. We should differentiate startups from 2 other forms of companies. And one is like corporations, which is quite easy to differentiate because they do not grow fast. They have bureaucracy, reports, meetings. And for them, it's more important like to save value, like to defend their position instead of like try something new. The last distinction is with lifestyle companies, which are also, they have all the passion and like they have nice teams, families almost, but the difference will be scale. So this is like for them to keep the sustainable income and enjoy themselves and like do what they love, but not about like becoming like a success globally or regionally. And I have some illustrations here. So, but like it's also like, it's a feature. A startup or scale up, it could be a feature, and you can see like this passion in a lifestyle business. And like startup is nothing without a passion from founders, from the team. And you also hear a graph for Netflix, which used to be like 5 billion valuation like 8 years ago, and now it's 170. So like here is probably was a disruption, and that was like some features of a startup with a risk and great reward. And they were disrupting the market. And you're probably now using, all of you, Netflix or Spotify. So what's needed for success? Like at the beginning, it's founders. These are like parents to a baby, the same way as me and my co-founder, like we're parents to Lokalise. And it could be enough to start. And then you go through a MVP, and you try to make it as small as possible, but to show that like you have like your idea works. And then you go through product market fit, traction, scalability. And basically these are also like for you to understand what are like series of funding. Like this is like could scale, this is series A. All before is like pre-A, and is scaling already. So this is not longer a question, then it's like post-A. And we are like, just an illustration, we are between could scale and is scaling, so we're scaling a little bit. Good news. Good news is like, it's much easier in terms of capital to start a startup, whatever. Like it used to be like very expensive, and because of like cloud computing and sharing economy, it takes much less to start a company. And in our case, it's also like, it was like our own money and a little loan. and then like which we repaid maybe 6 months, and it was enough to build our company. Here, so you kind of like you don't need a lot of money, but sometimes you are offered to be financed. But what's the downside? And this is like typical downsides. This is like this is like very resource-consuming process which you can devote to your product. Another one is a pressure which, like, regardless of the like legal stuff of your restricted decisions or I don't know, board members, like whatever they're comfortable, there'll be some pressure where people will say like, how does it go? And then like it's kind of a distraction for you. And third is like you are getting spoiled, and this is exactly what foie gras effect is. So with all the money you start spending, and then you're not fit. You know, you have all the doping. It's like in sports, and like whether you'll be sustainable, and what about like if economy changing, then you're very exposed. It's okay with VCs when they have a portfolio, but for you it could be like very troublesome. Instead, when you don't have VC money in the beginning, for instance, you enjoy focusing, which I mentioned at the beginning, which we are doing. And I was doing the same with my team, like in 2 previous startups, which were successful, Odnoklassniki and Megago.net. Like, in the beginning, it's very important to get rid of all the noise and to listen to your customers who vote either with their money, especially in B2B, or with their like feet when it's B2C. And like this Rubilite, for instance, is like my former team from Odnoklassniki who invest, and they're just saying, send us your Google Analytics account, and then we'll check your metrics, and this is enough for us because we'll understand. So it's very important like to focus, and money is distraction, and also like fundraising process is a very big distraction. And imagine you are 2 people, you're 2 founders, or a small team, and you'll be spending like how many like interviews, talking to some people who may not necessarily understand. And we see a lot of examples, like Airbnb was raising for 1 year, and like there were a lot of VCs who like missed this opportunity. And same with Uber, with everybody. So like, and also it's like a small but important thing. In the beginning, you'll still be like hiring from your network, regardless whether you raised or not. It's a shortcut, but you can even like start with your network without any money, so people will trust you, will go for smaller salaries, maybe with some equity, more eagerly. So like you get rid of this distraction. It's like it's cheap to start. So these are kind of alternatives where you can get this money besides VCs. So it's important to understand this is not the sole source of money, and you should consider. This is like your own money, like 50,000 is not a lot. Angel investors, so they're like high net worth individuals thinking of what to do with their savings or with their income from other businesses. And you read newspapers, like MicroTik is making like 60 million every year, and this is like money goes to the founders. So like, why not to devote some money to startups? Accelerators, an easy thing, which is like I have nothing to say against. VCs, a fair point. There's also grants, and especially in Europe, crowdfunding. Like forget the ICO hype, the recent one, but otherwise they're like people who are like your users, who can contribute financially because they trust you, they use you every day. And also you can raise debt. In our case it was 50,000, which helped us. And this is like just a little bit what I was checking, the news. This is also like we are underinvesting in terms of angel money in Latvia, like 5 times compared to Estonia, which should also be something done about. This is like one of the arguments what like VCs are using. This is like, again, I'm not against VCs, and I will be raising. I was a banker myself before. This is, you should have your eyes wide open, and you should like consider alternatives, and then like talking to VCs like as an equal. because like this is your life which you're contributing, and this is only money and not theirs which they contribute. So here, like this is our own experience. We need some expertise, which we could probably get from VCs, but it's available elsewhere. And we now have 3 advisors, and one of them is actually VC. So it's like it's a shortcut as well. This is like other alternatives where you can get advice and this like smartness. Let me be a little naive here, because while talking to VCs in the future, this is kind of the shortlist or rider which we'll be using, because we treat our employees or like partners or customers as kind of like a relationship, and then in a relationship you can have your requirements. And it's a kind of dating for us. And here we're dating with VCs probably. And these are our requirements which we will probably not get from every VC. So in order to differentiate between VCs, we'll be using this. And like will be possible actually to Latvia for us at this stage to get this like unicorn experience. Difficult to say, probably not. Personal chemistry, yes. Talent hunters, this is our greatest difficulty right now, and I would doubt it. Like references for portfolio companies, this is not done in dating probably, but in terms of visa, you can do this. Yeah, offices in the US, Europe, yeah, good thing to have. So all in all, I would like to finish my short speech. For me, it's not a question of whether to raise. It's more a question of when to raise. And there should be some prerequisites when you'll be talking like equally to your partner. In this case, this is a VC. You should like have an MVP working. You should be confident in your market. And in our case, we actually were behind this point, and we were into scaling. So it's still possible. It's possible with other companies you've seen. So like, please do consider. But when you need it, they're there. And there are many of them. And we enjoy talking to them. And then again, maybe I will be one of them soon. This is it. This is it. Questions? How does it work?
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. So we have at least 5 minutes for questions and answers from the audience. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone with Anna to you, and you are able to ask it. Look, there is a question there. There.
Hi, Alona from Startup Wise Guys. I have a question. Was there a point in the beginning where you were considering to take VC money or some other support, but you decided not to, and why you decided not to?
Yeah, it's a nice story. Good question. In the beginning, we were like talking to some of them here, and we are almost doing some deals already. But like this process, it took several months in the beginning, and there were like 2 problems. One, even with all the traction, they were not understanding where we were going. And that's why maybe it took took several months instead of like weeks. And I can say, for instance, now, and when I was looking at the MRR growth in KKHR, which is another like Latvian startup, I would immediately recognize the pattern. I can say right away they'll go very far. And I was ready to invest myself instead that they were sold to Sage. So there was one problem. It's like VCs didn't understand what we were doing. Like how many B2B SaaS businesses are there in Latvia? Like 3, 4? And like same in the Baltics, they're not a huge number. How many of them get to this unicorn level? It's Pipedrive, the only one. This is one. And the second is like we were lucky because we're in B2B. And in B2B, money comes. Like your customers, they vote with money. And like once we turned off like annual contracts, we become cash flow positive, and we still are. So basically, And in this very moment, we've seen like our first annual contracts fall in our account. We've got like 2 offers, and they're still there on the table. So luck is also important.
Very good. Really good question, really good answer. There is another one there.
This is a question about your disclaimer that how much are you raising now?
How much are you raising now?
It's like how much? It's a good question. What's your smallest check? Yeah. I mean, like, raising is instrumental, right? So we have a product. It's a question of scalability. And right now we have like our own cash, which we'll still spend in. And how much we will like be able to do 3 things. One is like to hire 50 people, which is an expense. Second is like how long will our sales cycle grow? Because we are switching to enterprise sales. Not completely, like, but putting more effort on this. And in this case, maybe a sales cycle will grow and not allowing us to finance all the hiring, for instance. And third is like, in order to supply leads for this like extra team, then it will be a marketing expense. So like my answer is I don't know yet. We don't want to raise just for raising. And like we don't, yes, it will get us on like in TechCrunch, one article. Otherwise, like we would like this money to work for us, and we don't know how much we will be. But the stage, like I told you, we're between, so we're like scaling, but like this is not yet a machine. So this is like post A somewhere, late A.
Any other questions? While you think I will have one. Did you have like periods where you were really thinking that, fuck, I don't have the money on the account to do actually some certain type of activities, and you were actually thinking that maybe I should have more money at this kind of moment? Well, in bootstrapping, you definitely have these kind of moments, don't you?
Yes, we do. But let me talk about something different. Like we almost ended up having a lifestyle business. And this is like, it's also, this is another problem in Latvia, maybe. This is like, we don't have many examples of like scale-ups. And we are not San Francisco. We're not London. We're not like a capital of VC or capital of startups. And this is like people, they like reach something and then like they plateau. And that was almost the case with us. Like we were enjoying life. We had money. We were doing like shashliki in Kipsala. And like, and this is it. And I was lucky. I was invited for like Founders for Finders event. This is the no VCs, nobody, and like great startups with a total valuation of 3 billion, talking between themselves, 100 people. And then I realized if we push a little more, this thing could be global. And this is like I came back. It was 2 days, a weekend. I came back. I talked to my co-founder. And now, like, we're doing completely different things. Like, he's no longer coding. I'm no longer on the calls. I don't do, like, emails, presentations. We're hiring. We're creating processes. We're scaling up. And I want, like, everybody here, like, think what really, like, a scale-up is. Not about, like, enjoying themselves and, like, do this little thing and, like, sustainable income.
Slick.
Yeah. So it's, like, the difference is, like this.
There is a question there.
Hi, William from Northzone here. Great session, great content. Question, who are your customers and how do you sell to them?
My customers are anybody from the startup, and like Revolut, Printful, Mintos here, Evolution Gaming, Inbox.lv, to like big enterprises, SMBs, startups, and big enterprises. And they're like, we're a platform for translating software. So the same way as a CRM helps in sales process, but not selling for you, we're same, we help in this process, but not translating for you. And the way we sell, we have like 3 ways. One is like self-service. So like customers, they come, enter credit card details, start using it, inviting all the team to work on it. The second is like high velocity sales. This is like feature selling, like short calls. You need this, yeah, here it is. And third is like when we talk to enterprises, we talk about like gap selling. You can like Google this. or find the book. This is a value selling. So we go top down, where we like how important is localization of your software for you? How big is it a part of your future revenue? And then we can realize the value for the whole company, and sometimes a company of 100,000 people.
Really cool. We have time for maybe one more question from the audience. Now is your chance. Raise your hand. You will get the question. Don't be afraid.
For free.
It's for free, exactly. Nobody's charging for you for that. It's lovely to see that you're the Chief Revenue Officer, obviously. For free. Yes, there is a question there. Look, a brave hand. Wait, we will get you a microphone so everybody can hear your question. Excellent. Go.
So it sounds like you don't want a lifestyle business. You want to have a big, successful business, maybe to IPO. If that's the case, why don't you raise money ahead of where you are? Why be shy?
We're not. Let me show you. We're just like figuring out like how much and when. Yeah, but we'll probably raise. So this is like a big chance. Otherwise, we'll like maybe do some debt, a little, or angels, and then raise. Because like at this stage, we are confident it should be a scale up. It should grow far. And then instead of like growing like this, we can take this a shortcut to hypergrowth. And why not?
And money is cheap, equity is expensive. Easy. Thank you so much. Give him a big applause. This is really good. Thank you so much.